Good Wednesday to you, everybody, in Gov/Com 603. Welcome to week boom 5. How's everybody doing? Let's make sure we are sufficiently caffeinated. Don't have my hat and my hair is a bloody mess. Okay. Welcome to this week. Let's talk a little bit about this week, and then we're going to talk about last week, right? This week, we are going to be focusing on sampling and data collection and the difference between qualitative and quantitative methodology. So you will read chapter 4 in Pauner and chapter 4 in Howard. All right, and they're going to cover both of those. Okay. And what I want you focusing on is the discussion questions and again, you need to understand how to discuss these terms and then to recognize them when you see them. So if I ask you on a quiz or a midterm exam, a wink, which of these two would be qualitative, which of these two would be quantitative methodologies, you'll be able to tell me. Okay. Also, this week, a gentle reminder that part 1 of your research design project is due on September 24th. So that's this coming Tuesday. You need to have that done. Some of you have been emailing me saying, "Hey, am I doing okay here?" And I said, that's fine. But make sure that you hit that marker. All right. Because it's here. It's here not only, because it's points for the class, but it allows me to give you feedback on how you're doing by way of your research, your writing, your organization. Do you know what a literature review is as opposed to an annotated bibliography? And that's one of the questions from last week, and so on and so forth. If you have any questions, please contact me before the due date. All right. In fact, on the due date, I will not be available. That is on Tuesday. I have a number of qualifying exams to sit, and I'll be in Zoom meetings until, I'm numb. Okay, let's take a look at the questions from last week, week 4. All right, we're looking at the difference between correlation and causation. Very, very important that you know the difference between the two. Okay. And then likewise, to sort of help you along with your paper, question number 1 is what a literature review is not. All right. Let's see, Jennifer, this is what you say. According to Pauner, literature review is not an article by article summary of the pieces you read with 1 paragraph per article or item. Correct. That's actually closer to what we call an annotated bibliography. Annotated bibliographies, they're okay. They're important to put together. They're most significantly important for you as a researcher, because when you're researching a topic, you may go through a whole bunch of sources. You're not going to use all of them. And you get so many, you're like, okay, what did this author say? You make a little summation about what it is the author says, their methodology, the data that they use. You could harvest the abstracts of an article for a annotated bibliography. And a good article will have a good abstract. That's actually one of the things that I look for right away when I'm winnowing through sources and deciding what I'm going to use to construct a paper or a discussion. Is there a good abstract? Because if you can't organize an abstract, I'm suspicious about the organization of the rest of your paper. Okay, so that's a pretty straightforward question. Question number 2, according to Runyon, why should we be cautious of single causal explanations regarding an individual and his or her behavior? And for people in political sci, this is the question, and often the mistake. Especially when you're out working, people want like pat answers. This is this and that is that, and specifically, what do I do about it? And there is a temptation. Don't succumb to reduce the explanation of behavior or the anticipation of behavior down to a single cause. So if we do this, everybody's going to do that. Okay. Alyssa, let's take a look at you. The discussion round, you went first. We'll take you first. The discussion round, Van Gogh illustrates how people are complex beings with layers of motivation and conflicts that dictate decision making. Boom, right there. You could have ended it with that first sentence. I'm glad that you didn't. But because people are complicated, man. Look at the weather report on any given day. There's usually at a minimum a 20% margin of error. That's really big. And then sometimes it's even larger, 30, 40, 50%. Why? Is someone not certain that there's going to be weather today? No. But there are too many variables that change rapidly, faster than we can account for them, the variables, and that we can track them, the change. That's even more complex with human behavior because, people are not always forthcoming about what it is that they feel and why it is that they do. You may have experienced this in relationships. It's like, why'd you do that? Oh, I was thinking all along that. And you're just like, yeah, thanks for telling me. All right, because people are complex. That's the answer. Okay. Let's see. Question number 3. On January 6, 2022, it was alleged that more than 2,000 entered, or 2,000 people entered the United States Capitol building. The rioters, it is alleged, entered the Capitol building after a speech given by President Trump, which it was alleged he used 22 grammatical variations of the word fight. March 2022. Joshua James, 34, of Abram, Alabama, member of the Oath Keepers, pleaded guilty to seditious conspiracy for his part in the riots. If you were going to write a research paper on January 6 riots, would you utilize case-oriented or popular-oriented research methodology? And there's not a correct answer here. The point of the question is to get you to understand the difference, okay, through a real-world example. And I used this scenario because, diggity-do, at the first presidential debate, one of the questions thrown out to President Trump was, is there anything you regret about what you did on January 6th, as if it happened yesterday? So it still seems to be very much alive and well in someone's consciousness, okay? So know the difference. So here, Jennifer, you went first again. We're going to take you. Case-oriented research seeks to explain particular outcomes in specific cases, okay? Let's see, I'm just scanning through your answer here. Okay, case-oriented or population-oriented. Okay, so yes. So in the case of case-oriented methodology, an easy way to remember this is you look at, so the question is, what makes things go? Okay. And although, like Van Gogh, this can be a complex question. All right. The explanations tends to break into two camps: the singular causer and then the general causer. So singular causers are individuals or events. This is what led to the riot. So you could say case-oriented. In this case, it was what Trump said. Or in this case, it was the use of this certain language. Now, the January 6th commission, the congressional get-together that looked into this, they leaned heavily, by way of their thinking, on case-oriented. Okay. On the other hand, population-oriented methodology is you look at the trends within large groups of people, populace. So you might say it's the difference between what started the fire, the box of oily rags, or the spark that jumped out of the furnace or the fireplace. I don't know why you'd have a box of oily rags next to your fireplace. Wouldn't advise it if I were you. So the one is, well, there are these general trends, piles of oily rags, which, there are periodic sparks, cases, but minus the oily rags, it doesn't turn into a conflagration that burns your house down. That's population oriented. There are these trends in society. And without these trends, there's sort of an assumption that these cases fire off with some regularity, but without the population trends, nothing's going to happen. Okay. On the other hand, the case-oriented is nope. It is the spark that jumps out of the furnace. That's what causes the fire. Okay, so be able to distinguish between those two, because those are not only different methodologies, they're different ways of looking at what caused what happened. All right, question number 4. According to Huntington Klein, why should a researcher be concerned about the relationship between 2 or more variables, right? Jennifer, you went first again. We'll take you first. It's important for a researcher to be concerned about the relationship between 2 or more variables because the relationship between 2 variables or more, we can just say variables, accurately relays what we see in the data about our research question. Okay, let's see if we can simplify that. That is correct, Jennifer, by the way. The reason that you as a researcher should be concerned about the relationship between variables is that's the purpose of research, is to try to figure out, okay, so you have something that's been caused. This is one way to go about looking at a problem. Here's the event. Whatever. The building fell over, the people rioted, what have you. This candidate was elected, this candidate was not elected. There's the event. What caused that? What were the variables? And remember, a variable could be anything, an event, a person, speech, natural disaster, okay, any event. What were the events that caused the outcome? That's the purpose of empirical research. And that's the purpose of the researcher, is first to identify the variables and usually the outcome. I would say it's pretty straightforward, but there are people who get it wrong. What happened here? And then what likely caused this? And then what is the relationship between that which caused and that which happened? And you have to be careful, and this is the point of the whole week last week, to not confuse correlation with causation. So back to that example again of ice cream and shark attacks. You can say, oh, in the summertime on the beaches of Florida, the incidence of shark attacks goes up. Okay. That's the outcome. What other things increase? Oh, look at this. Ice cream sales go up. See, this is the bad researcher. Ice cream sales, people who eat ice cream are more attractive to sharks. Maybe they're, chocolate yummy or vanilla luscious or something. I don't know. Okay. All right. So your job as a researcher is first to establish, what happened, then to look for possible causes, and then to establish a causal relationship between the one and the other. So, hey, if you can prove those people who eat, strawberry swirl or whatever are more tasty as sharks, I don't know how you would do that. Take a group of 10 people, feed half of them ice cream and half of them not, and put them in shark infested waters. Stand back with your clipboard and pencil and Okay, that's the job of the researcher. All right, everybody, that's it for this week. Remember, the papers are due. Okay, if you have any questions, you gotta get in touch with me before Monday, because Tuesday I'm out of service and that's deadline. All right, have a great rest of the week. Take care. God bless you, and I will see you on Canvas. Bye-bye.